Oh, no, the dip, it's all on. Everybody get up and tzatziki? I guess that was like, favorite. Oh, gosh. Okay. I know, it's delicious. Okay. And then I use dry cottage cheese. By dry curd at the grocery store, you can even, I get my cottage cheese at Costco. Ideally, you want to use large curd, but you can also use small curd. You want to make sure you drain it. So you can put it through a strainer, put water through it, run water through it and let it drain out the milky fat that's in there, and then let it drain for a little bit, and then put it in. So you want it to be almost dry. So I put some crushed cheese in there. Yeah. All right. And then we have some feta cheese. And what I've done is grated the feta cheese ahead of time. So you want it to be grated. Or you can break it up with your fingers, whatever is easiest. Yeah, you can buy it as a block at Costco or Sam's. At Costco, they sell Presidents, and it's great. I use it a lot. In fact, that's what I'm using tonight. For my big productions that I do for the grocery stores, I buy it myself in a big bucket. But Presidents has great. Yeah, Cora, you have Gavin's that's out there, and they also do. And it's okay, it's on my craft. They bought that from the original family. So it's become more commercialized. You want to be careful with feta because if it's not packaged in its original juice, then it's going to go bad fast. So you want to be really careful. And let's say you only use part of that block of cheese. What I usually do at home is I put a little bit of salt and water in a Tupperware, and I put the remaining feta in that, and that helps preserve the feta cheese longer. If you have the juice from the feta, then it's nice to use that as well. But you can usually mix it like that as well. And feta traditionally doesn't go bad in the refrigerator. It's a good cheese to keep for a long time. Just again, smell it, make sure it's not going to sour on you. Some dill. Rather than get you off twice, is show you how to make the mix of the grape leaves, and then show you how to make the mix of the spinach pies, and then we'll do both. I'll show you how to roll both. And I'll do this one. Great. then I'll also take you around, I'll come around to each of the tables and work with you and give you a little time to kind of touch and feel the feel of the Greek foods. Mix it all in so that the egg is penetrated with this. It smells good. See if the eggs be a little bit longer, it gives it more volume to it than it is. Now, some people like to saute their onions. You can also do it that way if you like to add sauteed onions versus just cut. Is it green onions? Green onions, you can saute them with a little bit of olive oil. Olive oil with some butter. How much olive oil would you use? You know what, when we go to the tables, you'll see with your pastry brush, you know how to put the butter on, and I'll show you here as well. You want to use about the same. It's basically going to be baste the phyllo so that it doesn't dry on you while you're folding it. Yeah. Because what will happen is once phyllo hits the air, it dries very fast. So you either have to have a moist towel close by or just do a portion of the phyllo at a time so that it's not drying out on you. Because when it dries, you can't use it. It becomes real thin paper. Okay. Mix this pretty good. So that's how your mix looks like. I get this on a commercial basis. It's not available in grocery stores, unfortunately. Where you can buy phyllo is the Indian store. I would recommend that if you shop at Price Choppers, any of the Price Choppers or hen houses, ask the manager of the store to bring Athens phyllo in. That to me is the best phyllo. They used to carry it, I don't know what happened, I think Pepperidge Farm probably sold their slot in. Paid a lot of money to AWG or some other distributor that distributes that grocery store, and they have limited slots in the warehouse, and I think they basically paid more to get the slot in and kick these guys out, because to me this is the best phyllo. Anyway, there's different, besides this brand, the Indian store sells another brand, and they sell different thicknesses. This is thin phyllo that we're going to use tonight. You can use a thicker phyllo. I use a thicker phyllo for the products that you had tonight, for the Spanakopita. Thin phyllo works just as fine. Again, you got to be careful with it because once it hits air, it's going to start drying on you. So, but the Indian store also sells, you know, phyllo. Just tell them you're going to roll some appetizers, and they'll kind of guide you to the right.
Where did you say you got that?
I get it from a distributor.
I think I used to get that, I got that once, I think it had.
They used to carry it.
They used to.
Yeah, in fact, you know, and Ball's own, you know, they own a select group of stores. Constantino owns another grouping, Keevers, which is another group, out in Independence, they own some other Price Shoppers. Depending on where you're at in the city, you know, check with your Price Shopper, just tell them, and if you guys want, you can take these boxes home with you, and take them into the store and say, you know what, I really want it, can you bring this in, because I want to use it. They sell Athens cups, and they sell their smaller sheets, but it's not like this package. So you're more limited with the simple sheets. And again, with the simple sheets, you got to be careful because once they hit air, you know, they're going to start drying.
And that on shelf, yeah, in the refrigerator.
This has to be frozen. Now, to use it tonight like we're going to use it, you want to let it thaw out in your refrigerator for a couple of days. Otherwise, if you try to use it, it's going to be really hard. Or if you even want to do room temperature for like a half a day, it'll be decent, but your best bet is to keep it refrigerated for a couple of days and then use it. So that'll keep the texture of the feel of the dust. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll all of these packages out here. And I'm only going to do one package at a time so that we don't lose phyllo while we're rolling. I mix right here. And then I'm going to do Spanakopita first, show you guys how to roll that, and then I'll do dolmadas, and then we'll go to the tables. How's that? Okay. Now what I like to do with my phyllo is use a half a package at a time. And I'm going to show you a really easy method in how to roll. You want to take the longest end, the end that has the longest plastic, and tear it with your knife, a small portion of it, kind of tear it slightly, so that you're able to get the package out. And I would pull it halfway out. Oops. Be careful so you don't touch your phyllo. Can everybody see okay? Okay.
Stop that.
How's that? Nope. How's that? Okay. Okay, how's that?
Push your board a little bit further from me.
Good. I want everybody to be happy. Okay. Basically, your phyllo is about, if you're using Athens pastry, is about 13 inches long. So I go 6 1/2, and I cut it down, and I take the other and I put it back in the plastic and I seal it like that, and it won't hit the air. So that way you've saved half the phyllo. Pardon?
6 1/2.
6 1/2. Sorry. It says 7 1/2? Okay. We have a typo. Should be 6 1/2. And then I can roll with it just open like this. Now, it's really important that when you're rolling in your kitchen, you could conceivably roll it without putting anything on it. Because once you start putting stuff on it, it bogs you down. I mean, you can do it if you're slow and you're just trying to get used to the phyllo. But ideally, if you can roll without it, it's probably the best. And not have any fans or anything around you. So if you have the air conditioning going and the vents directly over you, it's going to dry out your phyllo. So make sure that there's no vents or anything around you. Okay. And I like using a scooper because I'm precise with my portions when I'm doing this. Get my butter. Olive oil or you can use butter. And your butter must be melted and slightly warm. Okay? Now if you have a burner, one of those little have them hooked up right next to you. You can melt this over the stove, but what you're going to have to do is every so often heat it back up because it's going to get cold. And once it gets cold, it doesn't really brush very well on the field. Okay, so what I like to do,
Yeah, you're just brushing on the side.
down the center, right. So what you want to do is put moisture on your sheet, and then you're about 2/3 of the sheet down, okay? And you want to be able to flip it up so you get a nice flip, and it covers your mix, okay? And then you want to take each side, and kind of come in a little bit slightly, so you've got about maybe 2 inches worth of a width, okay? And then what you want to do is add a little bit more butter. Oops. And then I take it to the side, so I'm going to fold it like a flag. It'll come as close to folding it to a flag as you can. And then flip it down this way. Flip the bottom. And that's your flag. So you guys will get to do this here in a second. Okay. We'll do one more, and then I'll have you guys do this. We'll get you situated. So flip it halfway down, and then each side like that. And don't be afraid if it's a little torn, because quite honestly, when it cooks, you never know if it was damaged or defected or anything like that. And you make sure you go to the bottom. And then when you store them, you can store them like this in your Tupperware. Okay? All right, I'm going to fold this up. You guys think you can do it? Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's okay. And I'll cut all these guys up in a second. Okay. We're going to keep that sealed for right now until we get ready to have you guys do it. Okay. Anybody have any questions on Spanakopita rolling? Now we're going to do a quick roll of the gravy.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Once you've done a couple, do you need to set towels over them, or are they good to go once they're done?
You never want to leave your phyllo. So just, if you've got to go to the bathroom, or you've got to go take a break, make sure you roll the whole thing, and then you take your break. Yeah. Oh, the completed ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're rolling it, don't leave it, because once you leave the phyllo, it's going to dry. Now once
So when you've got your whole row done,
Your flag.
and your flags are done,
right, then you want to butter the top.
and then they're good to go,
Then
they're good to sit
ready
for
to
a
go.
while.
And then just put in between each layer, put parchment paper or saran wrap.
But you don't have to fill with wet cloth or anything like that.
And then directly put them in the freezer. You don't want to leave them at room temperature too long. Again, it's got egg in it. So put them directly in the freezer and let them freeze up. And they're beautiful, just like you guys have tonight. And they'll stay nice in the freezer for about 4 months.
Do you freeze them uncooked or
Uncooked.
freeze them?
Now, let's say you want to thaw out 25 of them and you only use 20. And you've got 5 left that are cooked. You can put them in your refrigerator for about 5 days. And then you can heat them in the microwave at a half a minute. Or you can put them in your oven and heat them up at 350, kind of like we do with the dolmadas, for about 15-20 minutes.
You
And they're
can
beautiful.
thaw them before you cook them, or
Well,
if
once
they've got them freezing
if they've been in the freezer, you don't even have to thaw them. You can put them straight into the oven
straight in.
at 350 for about 40 minutes, depending on your oven. If you're using a convection oven, it's going to speed your process, your cooking time. So I would roughly say about 30 to 35 minutes at 350. So, any other questions on this Spanakopita? Okay, great. Let's do grape please real quick. Okay. Now, because we're not going to really eat these, I'm not going to take the time to flip them so that we can go ahead and start. But you want to make sure you flip these little ends before you start rolling. They open up beautifully when they're really nice. They're really nice to work with. So, you want to put them face up with the rough side to them. Can you see? I'm going to give this to you because I'm going to put it on everybody's table. And I'm going to give it another two. Okay. Now you can use your same scooper if you want. I like using a little bit larger amount in these leaves. I use like a tablespoon because I like it to be real thick. So you can use a little bit if you want. You can do 2 scoops. Okay, so with the leaves, what's nice about them, they won't dry. So you can take your time. I fold it up, and then I take it on each side. So you want to tuck the ingredients in there. You're going to kind of roll it. Now, if for some reason your leaf is torn, take another one and roll it again. And when you're kind of peeling these leaves and clipping these ends, I like segmenting them a little bit because they're all going to be different shapes and stuff. So you can take a smaller one. If there's a little bit of a smaller one, you can take that and re-roll it. And that way you have the mixture that's going to be tucked in the leaf and it won't fall apart. Just like that. Now keep in mind when you double leaf it like this, it's going to take a little longer for it to cook. You can leave it single if you want. But if it's torn a little bit, you're better off just wrapping it together. And then that's how you wrap this one. And you can roll a bunch of these and cook them. You want to cook these though. You don't want to freeze them uncooked. You want to cook them and then freeze them. And they're wonderful to be cooked again. Repeat it up. This one didn't turn on, so it's not too bad. Cut it like that, and you want to put the end right at the bottom so it doesn't unfold. Okay? Does everybody think they can do great greens now? Okay. Well, if everybody would kind of take a spot at the tables there. This is over there. And these, and we'll experiment.